The Globe and Mail is reporting that Canada is considering retaliatory tariffs on a wide range of U.S.-made goods, including orange juice and some steel products. The measures would be part of a response should Donald Trump proceed with a threat to impose a 25% tax on all products from Canada. The report says the list of retaliatory targets is still being developed and has not yet been finalized. 7NI Holdings says it's still considering takeover proposals by Alimentation Couche-Tard and the company's founding family, but it does not yet have enough information to evaluate the proposals. The parent company of 7-Eleven convenience stores says both proposals have hurdles they must clear to make an acquisition possible. These statements followed the company's latest results, which showed a drop in quarterly profit. Royal Bank of Canada and artificial intelligence company Cohere are building a bank-wide artificial intelligence platform. That platform will be called North for Banking. It will help employees complete tasks and find information, including searching for answers and solutions specific to customers' needs. Tourism is a multi-billion. There's a look at the S&P TSX Composite Index, where it closed yesterday, up about half a percentage point to finish at 25,051 points. Well, tourism, of course, is a multi-billion-dollar industry in Canada that contributes in a big way to the country's bottom line. But can it return to pre-pandemic levels? We're joined now by Beth Potter, President and CEO of the tourism industry of Canada. Beth, thank you a great deal. Where are tourism levels right now in Canada? Visits from the U.S. and from other countries as well.
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me. So certainly, tourism is returning and has been returning over the last few years. And just looking at our numbers, as of October of 24, international visitation was at 17.3 million international visitors, and that was up about 8% over 2023, but still not at the levels from 2019, where we were at about 22 million international visitors coming in. And of course, the majority of those international visitors are Americans. They are our largest international market.
So I guess my question would be, I had the pleasure of speaking to Andrew Weir, CEO of Destination Toronto, in November. And when we talk about tourism, is it really as simple as just have some more Taylor Swift concerts in Canada? Because obviously that was a big event. Maybe, I don't know if we can get her back here for another 8 shows in Canada, but I guess my question would be, concerts and big events. Is that the way to generate more tourism in this country? And obviously, like you said, most of it's coming from the U.S.
Well, it's a really good question, and certainly big events are an incredibly important part of the makeup of our industry, and business events, not just the Taylor Swift concerts, but business events actually make up about 40% of our overall tourism receipts every year. And if you wanted to put that into some kind of context, it would be like taking the entire tourism industry of Ontario, and that's what business events equal to. So it is those international conferences that are coming in and bringing delegates from around the world. And recently, we've done some really big numbers on the international, attracting international events. So just in the latter part of last year, the organization Destination Canada, which is our national marketing organization, had the International Convention Attraction Fund. And through this fund, they were able to support bids by Canadian cities to host major international conventions. And by doing so, they were able to increase the economic benefit to Canada by about 17 to 1. So for every $1 million that invested in one of these events, it would return about $17 million to the Canadian economy. So just that gives you a sense of the importance of international business events coming into our country. It's
interesting to hear you talk about those as tourism events. Those, for the people attending, those are work events, but that counts as tourism, does it? A conference that brings people in from other countries to a what is a working event for them.
Absolutely. Anybody that travels more than about 40 kilometers is considered a tourist. But when you bring in international business events, delegates come from around the world. They stay in accommodations in our cities. They eat in restaurants. They shop. They do other things other than just go to the conference. And so they are bringing new money into our economy, and that's something to support our communities at the local level, but also provincially and nationally as well.
How much do you think a weaker dollar is going to help? I would think that, especially again, tourists from the U.S., they'll come up here and their dollar go a lot further in our country, even those coming from Europe. But do you think that's going to play a big or have a big effect on tourism this year?
Well, it certainly can, and we have seen that in the past when the Canadian dollar has been, weaker than the U.S. dollar. That gives U.S. visitors an incentive to come to Canada because their dollar does go farther. We are also, the closest country that Americans like to travel to, and we've got that connection between the two countries. There's a lot of visiting friends and family that come back and forth across the border, and we're just those lovely neighbors to the north that U.S. visitors like to come and see. And of course, that Canadian dollar really does help when it stretches their budget.
Do we help them understand the currency exchange rate and the fact that their dollar will go further here, or is that up for them to discover on their own? Is there any kind of official marketing push that stresses the affordability of visits to Canada?
That's something that I haven't seen in recent years. And of course, my organization doesn't, market to do any of the marketing. But I do know that the value proposition is certainly something that is talked about quite a lot. And that is certainly something that is discussed with American businesses and American organizations that are looking to organize business events here about how much farther their dollar can go.
Okay. Aside from the U.S., where do our visitors come from? What are the top countries outside the U.S.?
So top countries include some of our European friends, England, France, Germany. China was a growing market for us prior to the pandemic, and we're starting to see it come back. And of course, the lifting of the COVID requirements last year by the CTA certainly saw some of our airline friends be able to add more flights between the two countries. So that's going to be helpful in seeing Asia Pacific return in bigger numbers than they have been since the pandemic.
Beth Potter, thank you a great deal for this conversation. Beth Potter is President and Chief Executive Officer of the Tourism Industry Association of Canada.